Hi guys, and welcome back. And today we're going to do two things. We're going to have a look at the M3A2 Halftrack by Tamiya on 35th scale. But before we do that, we'll have a quick look at my design process for coming up with the diorama layout. So let's just talk about the history of the kit, and this has been around for a long time. First released, I believe, back in September of 1975. Then was originally kit number MM170. Subsequently, it's evolved over time to be 35070. No major changes to the tooling. There have been some different variants. It was reboxed in 75 under the Tamiya Rico label. Lots of various reboxings through the 80s and 90s. But again, packaging and maybe some updated decals in that period. There was a confirmed reissue of the original tooling in 1998. 2000s had multiple new box art entries and refreshes. 2010s to 2020s, again, new box arts, but they didn't really change much. It was more colour palette and the positioning of the text. And 2024 issue, which is the latest documented new box release, and again, only minor changes to artwork. So it's been around for a long time, since I was 12, and I've wanted to probably build it since I was about 13, so it's only taken me 50 years to get around to doing this. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about the creative process that I go through in pulling a diorama idea together. And it's hard to say what initially triggers it. Certainly the Halftrack was something that I was really keen to get my hands on, and the Hellcat as well. And then it sort of evolved from there. What if there was a bit of a traffic jam? What if they thought they were at the right coordinates but they were at the wrong coordinates? What other tanks would I have? There'd be a whole bunch of GIs sitting around, maybe a bit of an argument, who knows, maybe even a bit of a punch up, and so that just sorts to bubble away in the back of my head for a while. And then I saw the Italiari kit that had all the guys sitting on the tank, and I had a few at-rest figures, and so this is as good as it's always been up to this point. A little bit of an overhead diagram like this, and that's what I've worked on up to now. But I've been playing around with AI and share with you how I've evolved the design process. And so, using my overhead design and then throwing in literally just some of the box art for the different kits that I'm considering using, give it a brief description of the overall scene, and then it generates this first image, and then from there I specifically ask it to zero in at different points of view, and that's really more just to give me some reference pictures, more than anything for the vibe and the overall feel of what it should look like, and this will evolve even further as I go through the process. But very happy, very easy to do. Run it through this software that's in my editing system. It's got a whole bunch of AI add-ons over recent times, and yeah, I think it certainly helps me more clearly visualize what I'm looking for overall, and it'll give me something to sort of anchor back to as I'm doing the build as well. So yeah, I think it's a very inexpensive and very simple way for someone who's not artistic. I can't draw at all, as you could see from my overhead diagram, and I think it's got some potential.
The map clearly shows this is the quickest route. Quickest, not safest. We go right. All right. Both of you are missing the obvious. My way is better.
Starting with sprue A, so we've got the chassis off onto the left, and then basically the wheels and all the bits and bobs that make up the underneath of the Halftrack. Got the exhaust system down in the bottom left corner. We've got the springs. So again, for a 1975 release, they're pretty good and clean. I did read somewhere that they well, they didn't fully retool it. They might have cleaned up the tooling, and that seems to reflect in this. There's very little flash. The details are, 50-year-old standards, but I think that's part of the joy of these classic kits, that they've been around for so long. It's great that we can still, you think back, what else can you do that was around 50 years ago? I can't think of too many other things that have stood that test of time. Sprue B, and that's the sides of the cab and the bonnet and the grills, and one of the figures, which is the driver and some tools, jerry cans and the windows, steering wheels, interior gear sticks and the like. And again, some fair detail, some reasonable detail. Some of the fine parts, the smaller parts, again, flash free, and while simple, very, very clean. The driver figure, again, pretty much what you expect from a 50-year-old figure, and I won't rave on about the head like I did in the last one. Sprue C, and we're looking more at the back now of the Halftrack, and the flooring. I've got the weaponry, 230 cals in the bottom left-hand corner, the 50 cal in the top left-hand corner, and again, just all the accompanying bits and pieces for the inside of the back end of the Halftrack. Again, nice details. They're clean, and certainly something you can work with. Get a good result if you're careful, I believe. Then we get on to the figures and some of the stowage and equipment. And again, figures are, they're fine. They'll come up well. I like the stowage. There's some good detail there. Lots of weapons, lots of rifles to throw around inside the Halftrack. Details, it's fine. It's what you would expect, and happy to be able to work with it. Rifles are simple but clean, and again painted up, and just to fill out the scatter bits and pieces for inside the Halftrack. They look good to me. More close-ups of the stowage. Again, reasonably good detail. Not sure what the thing is on the left. Could be a guitar case, I think. I'm not sure. I like the mesh detail on part 16 on the left. That's quite nice. Then the next sprue of figures and a little bit more equipment. They've got the helmets and water bottles, entrenching tools, and some bayonets. I think these guys are in the upright position in the main. Pretty clean, pretty good detail. I think they'll paint up really well. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into painting all of these. Then we've got the tyres and the tracks, and these are the rubber versions of both. What we used to back in the 70s, so I don't have strong negative views about them. We can make them work. And that is the single clear piece, which is for the front windscreen. Decals, and again, pretty basic, but all you need in this scenario, so they look fine. Then we get into the paperwork, and there's the usual tech tips. And I said in the last video, if you've not built a kit before, I think this is a quite useful little reference tool to get you on the right path. Like I said before, I thought I'd just feature this section because this is really handy. If you've never done it before, you need side cutters, scissors for your decals, tweezers, a modelling knife, paintbrushes, glue. So if you had all that, you'd definitely be able to build this without any problems. And just a warning about not burning the non-PS polystyrene, otherwise you'll generate black smoke, which could be harmful to your health. So don't do that. Just a painting and decal guide, and then a parts map, which can sometimes be helpful, not so much in small kits like this, but if you've got 20 sprue and you're trying to find something, this can help narrow it down on occasions. So then we get into the instructions, and we've got the general information sheet on the front page, more information, and then the visualization of the composition of the unit, which I think is company level. And then we're into the instructions, starting with the chassis and the wheels, then moving into doing the suspension and the tracks, and then onto the cabin and the rear section with the seating. Start to get into a little bit more detail about the interior of the rear section, putting the driver together, and putting the side walls on, etc. for the back of the cab and the rear wall. And then getting into the final stages of doing I guess it's a cupola, and the 230 cals and the 50 cal. And then to the figures, and just some instructions on whacking them together. And they load out the back of that very nicely, that number of figures. And so that's about it. We'll just do a bit of a spinny thing, and I'll come back and say goodbye. So Happy New Year's to you all. It's either just starting to be New Year's Day or just finishing. So wish you all the best and hope you have a fantastic 2026. I hope you also enjoyed the AI and the animation of the scene and just the process around how I came to that sort of outcome. And I'm looking forward to expanding on that, and I think it'll help me get the composition right and have a clearer vision as I'm actually building and painting as we go through. So anyway, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Love your comments, and look forward to seeing some more of those, which we'll respond to, of course. And take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.